Do you want to be booked as a podcast guest expert, but not sure what to have on the press page of your blog? Stay tuned to find out. Hey everyone, thanks for joining me for today's episode of Interview Connections TV. I was feeling a little bit stuffy in my office, so I drove down to Rocky Point Park, which is just about a mile from my house. So you can see the bay is behind me. It is absolutely gorgeous out here. In today's episode, I want to talk about what goes on the press page of your blog if you want to be a guest expert on podcasts. Now, if you are used to getting traditional media, then what goes on your press page on your website may be a little bit different, but this is specifically if you want to be a podcast guest, you should absolutely have on your main blog, your main website, a press page that gives podcasters what they need to have on in order to have you on their show. So on your press page, you want to basically give them everything they need. So number one, you want to have both a long and short bio about you. So both written in third person. This gives them your background, a little bit of personal information, but a lot about your business, what you do, what your areas of expertise are. And then you also want to have a short bio, an introduction, something that they could use to read to introduce you to the podcast. Next, you want to have your interview topics. What areas of expertise do you have that you could talk about on a podcast? Have interview questions, specific questions that a podcaster could potentially ask you in an interview. You also need to have your contact information. Now, this can be a little bit general since this is for anyone who comes to your website. You might have more details on your one sheet, like your Skype name, your mailing address, your phone number. But at the very least on your press page, you want to have the contact information that they need in order to request you for an interview, whether that's a general, support at or help at email to your domain that gets, to your personal assistant or even to you, but you just want to keep it general on your website. Just make sure there's some contact information there. And then lastly, have links to where they can download your headshot, high resolution headshot, not just a little thumbnail, but maybe a couple different options. So some podcasters like to make multiple graphics for the episodes on their show. So you could say, here are my headshots, right click to download the high resolution version. So again, on your blog, you want to have a tab that says press or media that has all of this information. So that way, if somebody is interested in booking you, they get everything they need right there. And it also shows the world that you want to be booked as a guest expert. It's going to increase the number of people who are requesting you for their show. And you won't have to do quite as many pitches about yourself, which is always a nice thing when people email you to ask you to be on their show. I am Jessica Rhodes, and I'm committed to helping you leverage your brand through the power of authority and expertise. Check out my podcast, Roads to Success, at rtspodcast.com. And if you'd like my team to get you booked as a guest expert, go to interviewconnections.com/guest. Thanks, everyone. Have a great, productive week. Do lots of interviews, and I'll talk to you next Tuesday.
Only water would a place on the shore. Battle of the years, he's made a claim about